Chapter 1, Odysseus. Flight Lieutenant James G. Beaufort Stewart grapples with the haunting memories of a devastating raid that occurred on the night of November 6 to 7, 1940. The events of that night weigh heavily on him as he recalls the loss of life and the destruction caused by the weather and enemy fire. Beaufort Stewart's reflections set a somber tone, highlighting the harsh realities of war. Beaufort Stewart receives orders to transport Johanna von Arnim, also known as Jane Warner, from Russian camp to the mainland. This assignment involves navigating logistical challenges such as arranging transportation by taxi, rail, and ferry, while also assisting Frau von Arnim with her luggage, including record albums and a gramophone. The journey is marked by the need to maintain secrecy and handle the cumbersome luggage, adding to the complexity of the task. Jane and Jamie turn their attention to a cipher machine, a device used for encoding and decoding messages. Upon examining the machine, they discover cleaning instructions and notice that a key is missing. The machine has a keyboard of ordinary typewriter keys. Their examination leads to an additional discovery. Inside the key, they find a strip of paper with Django Reinhardt written on it. This clue hints at hidden messages or codes, sparking curiosity. This sets the stage for further investigation and the potential uncovering of secrets hidden within the cipher machine and its accompanying materials. Chapter 2, Stormfront. Jane and Jamie embark on the task of deciphering a coded message using the Enigma machine. The Enigma machine is a cipher device that can turn a message into nonsense, and then someone with the same machine can decode the message using the same setting. They work diligently, typing in the coded letters and watching as the decoded letters light up on the upper keyboard. After some struggle, they begin to see the message reveal itself, letter by letter, on the back page of a book. Ellen plays a pivotal role when she reveals the decoded message contains critical information about boat locations. Ellen knows what the message says, and passes it on to Jamie, as well as a piece of paper with a page torn from a school jotter with printed lines of clear English beneath recognizable German, beneath unrecognizable code. With this intelligence, the group recognizes the potential to disrupt enemy operations and safeguard Allied ships. Jamie, Ellen, and Jane collaborate to provide intelligence to the R.AF. They leverage their individual strengths and resources to gather, decipher, and disseminate crucial information. Jamie uses the information from the coded message to change the route of his squadron. Their efforts involve decoding messages, translating German text, and strategizing on how to best utilize the intelligence to aid the war effort. Louisa becomes an integral part of the secret operations, working with Jane to operate the Enigma machine and translate the messages. She was the one who actually made it work. Her involvement underscores the collective effort required to counter enemy activities and highlights the diverse contributions of individuals from different backgrounds. Chapter 3, Decoding and Deception. The group undertakes the task of copying leaflets containing Enigma settings and crafting a cover story to protect their clandestine activities. They duplicate the translation, one to leave in a record album and one to give Ellen. Their goal is to mislead anyone who might stumble upon their operation, maintaining the secrecy crucial to their efforts. While Jane conceals a message within a book, Louisa takes on the responsibility of transcribing Jamie's message into English. Jane augments the message with a note containing German coordinates, enhancing the intelligence with crucial geographical data. This collaboration ensures that the information is comprehensive and accessible to those who need it. The message is hidden behind the notes in the Django Reinhardt record. Jane cuts a thin strip from a page of one of her own books, a beautiful edition of a fat novel called Ulysses, itself hidden in a paper dust jacket off a French/English dictionary. Their carefully constructed operation faces a significant threat when Phyllis uncovers their activities and confronts them. This confrontation puts the entire group at risk, forcing them to navigate a precarious situation and safeguard their secrets. The confrontation is a challenge that requires quick thinking, deception, and unwavering resolve to protect the intelligence they have gathered and the operation they have established. Chapter 4: Revelations and Risks. Jamie's pilot logbook serves as a detailed record of his flights and his involvement in Enigma operations. The logbook lists all the flights Jamie ever made with the Royal Air Force, detailing each flight's duration and destination. The early entries are like casualty lists, noting when members of 648 Squadron were shot down. Sometime in September, he limited it to just his mates in Pym's section. He also includes a Morse E at the start of entries connected to the coding machine. Jamie had listed the names of 6 men in Pym's and added a note that said, also 5 lost in Madeira and 13 in .A flight. His pen nib had torn the page where he'd drawn a line under also for emphasis. Louisa contemplates the significance of fighting for change, recognizing the importance of even small actions in the larger context of the war. She is concerned about getting Mrs. Warner in trouble. Louisa's reflections highlight her sense of responsibility and her commitment to contributing to the war effort, despite the risks involved. Jamie recognizes Louisa's potential and believes she would be wasted staying at Nan's. He sees her head full of Morse code, her backbone of steel, and her hunger for action. He encourages her to join the WWII. Chapter 5: Enigma Game Origins. The author reflects on the initial inspiration for the story, citing elements such as the Enigma machine, the defecting Germans landing in Scotland, and the Blenheim cruise. These components served as the building blocks for the narrative, sparking the imagination and setting the stage for the events to unfold. Further inspiration came from an individual history report describing a German bomber, a Junkers 88, now in the Royal Air Force Museum Cosford, in England. On May 9, 1943, this Luftwaffe plane, with its crew of 3, flew from Denmark via Norway and was then escorted by a group of Spitfires into Dice near Aberdeen. The real inspiration for Odysseus and his collaboration with British intelligence came from the capture of this aircraft. One of the German airmen in the Ju-88 had been brought along at gunpoint, unwillingly. The other 2 may well have been working for British intelligence since 1940. Intriguingly, it has been suggested that the pilot, Heinrich or Herbert Schmidt, may have landed in the .U.K. twice before, in February and May 1941, both times on clandestine intelligence missions. The narrative incorporates details about Herbert Capstick, a Jamaican who served as a navigator in a Bristol Blenheim aircraft. The author notes that Capstick was possibly the only Caribbean man to fly in the Battle of Britain. A chance remark of Jamie's in code Name Verity forced the author to create a Blenheim squadron for the Enigma game. The author became obsessed with these overlooked Royal Air Force light bombers. The first Enigma machine to come into the possession of British intelligence in wartime was captured in May 1941, not February 1941 as in this novel. The author uses poetic license over this slight anachronism. The timing of the Enigma game was dictated very strictly by some of the less sensational events of code Name Verity. When the author sat down to write, it was already canon that Jamie had lost his fingers and toes to frostbite after ditching a Blenheim in the North Sea sometime before March 1941. Chapter 6: Verity's account begins. Verity, a captured British agent, begins her account by declaring, "I am a coward." She admits to wanting to be heroic but only pretending, and she has agreed to reveal everything she can remember about the British war effort. Verity describes her deal with SS Hauptsturmführer von Linden, in which she has 2 weeks to provide as much information as she can remember about the British war effort. In exchange, she has been given stationery from the Château de Bordeaux, a hotel turned bleak under German occupation. Verity says that, like Captain Hook, von Linden is an upright gentleman despite being a brute, and she naively trusts that he will keep his word. She acknowledges her treasonous account and promises von Linden her soul, though she doubts he takes it seriously. Verity expresses her weariness of code and realizes the vast amount she actually knows. She recognizes that she is utterly damned, facing certain death either way, but chooses this path as the easiest, avoiding other frightening possibilities. Verity explains that she will write in English because she lacks the vocabulary for a warfare account in French and cannot write fluently enough in German. Someone will have to translate for Hauptsturmführer von Linden, and Fräulein Engel, who speaks English very well, can do it. She also adds a note about paraffin and kerosene, clarifying the terminology for von Linden. Verity sarcastically remarks on the expense of using a liter of highly explosive fuel for her execution. She also mentions that Fräulein Engel instructed her to note that she wasted time laughing at her own joke and breaking a pencil point, causing delays. Chapter 7, Maddie's Story. Maddie investigates a pilot's story, piecing together information about D. Impna Withenshaw from newspaper clippings. D. Impna was the spoiled youngest daughter of Sir Somebody or Other Withenshaw. Maddie remembers her name because it is so silly. Maddie learns that after being released from the hospital after crashing her puss moth, D. Impna started giving joyrides in her other airplane, a Dragon Rapide, while the puss moth was being mended. Maddie sits on the floor in her granddad's shed next to her beloved Silent Superb, which needed a lot of tinkering to keep it in a fit state for weekend outings, and fought with the newspaper. There were pages and pages of gloom about the immediate likelihood of war between Japan and China, and the growing likelihood of war in Europe. Maddie covers up the sneering face of that idiot fascist Oswald Mosley with her mug of cocoa. Verity discusses her interactions with Fräulein Engel and von Linden, highlighting the challenges of providing useful information under duress. Fräulein Engel has been looking over her shoulder once again and has asked her to stop writing idiot fascist, because she thinks Hauptsturmführer von Linden will not like it. Verity thinks she is a bit scared of Captain von Linden, who can blame her, and she thinks Scharfer Thibault is scared of him too. She reflects on her role and the complexities of her situation, trying to balance her duty to her country with her own survival. The aspirin and kerosene are part of Operation Cinderella, a program designed to transform her from a feverish, nit-infested, mentally unstable prison rat back into a detained flight officer of cool nerve and confidence, suitable for presentation to a radio interviewer. To add credibility to their story, she has been given a sort of translation job copying Hauptsturmführer von Linden's own notes from the past year here, with names, when he knows them, and dates and, some methods used, in addition to information extracted. Chapter 8, Captivity and Collaboration. Verity describes her living conditions, mentioning that for a blanket in her cold little room, she would betray her heroic ancestor William Wallace. She notes that she is to be given water throughout the day while she writes, both for drinking and to prevent hysterics. She also reflects on the cross-examination process, with Engel struggling over her handwriting and von Linden finding fault in everything she says. She admits to bending the pen nib on purpose to avoid writing and sparring with Engel to wind her up. She knows she must comply to avoid von Linden's interrogation. Verity and Engel work together on translation jobs, using recipe cards as paper because she has gotten ahead of Engel. She notes that Engel can be a fount of information when she is in the mood, telling her that if she is lucky, she will be sent to Ravensbrück when they are finished with her. It is a concentration camp solely for women, a labor camp and prison, basically a death sentence where they starve you until you can't work. Verity reflects on the emotional toll of her captivity and the lies she must tell. She was flabbergasted to find they still had her gray silk scarf, assuming it must be part of her file, and they are still hunting for unrevealed code in the paisley. She thinks of herself as a wee Scots wireless set still nursing small, hidden, nasty short circuits got during her savagely inhuman interrogation, yet she can keep a straight face. She sits beneath the Venetian chandelier with the American pen and the Germans Engel and von Linden, sharing cognac and complaining about the French. Chapter 9, Truth and Consequences. Verity reveals that von Linden now knows about Eva Seiler, leading to potential consequences. She realizes nacht und Nebel, night and fog. Eva Seiler is going to fry in hell. She wishes she had some clue whether she has done the right thing, but she does not see how she can finish this story and keep Eva secret. Verity did promise to give him every last detail, and ultimately, she cannot imagine that giving her identity away will change her fate much, whatever it is. Because she had written such a lot the day before yesterday, it has taken a while for Hauptsturmführer von Linden to get caught up on the translation, and he and Engel, or somebody, must have kept going without her after she'd been locked up in her cell again last night. Verity reflects on the difficulty of finishing her story and the uncertainty of her fate. There isn't much left for her to write. What is he expecting me to finish with? Isn't the end of the story rather obvious? She wants to finish it, but she hates to think about it. Verity emphasizes her commitment to telling the truth. She asked von Linden if she could write this down before she continues the day's work. He said she indulged too much in the detail of what happens to her here, an interesting record but not to the point. He's allowed only 15 minutes, for this he's timing it. Verity has 1 minute left. She wishes she could have told more, done her justice, given her something more meaningful than her worthless name. After her fiasco last night, she thinks they killed her for no reason other than to scare her into confessing that she has lied to them. Chapter 10, General Analysis. The story intricately weaves together themes of truth, captivity, and collaboration during wartime. It is a work of fiction where names, characters, and incidents are the product of the author's imagination. The narrative explores the psychological and emotional struggles of its characters. Characters grapple with moral compromises in the face of overwhelming adversity. Verity's interactions with Fräulein Engel and von Linden exemplify the complexities of human relationships amid conflict, as she navigates the challenges of providing useful information while trying to survive. The setting of the novel is significant. Ormaie, with its bleak atmosphere and daily horrors, symbolizes the broader devastation and moral decay of occupied France. The physical and emotional toll of captivity is evident in Verity's descriptions of her living conditions, the cross-examination process, and the constant threat of interrogation. Themes of deception and truth are central to the story. Verity grapples with the need to tell lies to survive, even as she recognizes the importance of bearing witness to the truth. Her decision to reveal Eva Seiler's identity underscores the ethical dilemmas she faces, as she weighs the potential consequences of her actions against her commitment to honesty. The story delves into the profound impact of war on individuals, highlighting the psychological scars and moral compromises that arise from conflict. This is the end of the audiobook. Thank you for listening.